A lot of people moving to San Diego think you need to live right on the coast to enjoy the beach right here, but that's just not true.
What if I told you there are great San Diego neighborhoods just 20 minutes from the beach without that beach price tag?
Most people overpay for beach proximity, but we're gonna show you 3 places right now in North County, San Diego, where you don't have to.
First up is Central Oceanside. So in this area, you've got Rancho de Oro, you've got Ivy Ranch, 2 big major master plan communities within Oceanside that make up a lot of the housing of Oceanside in general. And this is a great spot to take a look at if you are looking for a little bit more affordable and just a quick little drive to the ocean. We will talk about prices, we will talk about more detail, but just kind of in general, you're thinking the central section of Oceanside is definitely an affordable option.
And one of the first clients that ever reached out actually moved to this exact area back in, what was it, 2020, somewhere in there?
Yep.
Right when he moved out, send us pictures, text us pictures of him and his family down at the beach, just loving it. So living in this inland spot, paying these inland prices, but still enjoying everything you get down there. Proximity to the beach, I brought it up on Google Maps. Depending on where you are, if you're close to the 76, you could shoot up to the harbor pretty quick. If you're down a little bit lower, you might go to just, what are the best beaches? It's usually the closest beach to you, right? That's how San Diego works. But I would say Oceanside Harbor is probably one of the most accessible beaches, one of the most popular beaches. Now, if you lived in Oceanside, you're gonna find some secret little beaches. You're gonna find like little local beaches, Buccaneer Beach, a few other ones just to the southern area. But just to start off as like a starter kit, just head up to the harbor, check that out. There's a ton of space. There's plenty of parking most of the time. You might have to walk a little bit, definitely summer times, all that kind of stuff. You're still gonna have to deal with all that, all the beach stuff that we have to deal with here in San Diego. But you also have like within Rancho de Oro, Ivy Ranch, you have your little shopping center, you have like your little strip malls, all that kind of stuff where you have amenities right there. If you go to the 76 just to the north, you have some of the big box stores and Home Depots and Targets and all that stuff. Oceanside's been blowing up over these past few years, and on our podcast, he's rocking our podcast shirt right now, but always bring up stuff that's happening in downtown Oceanside, whether it be new beer spots, new restaurants, there's like events going on down there, there's the Sunset Market. So that's all within 20 minutes of living in this area. But as you get closer to the coast, obviously it gets more expensive. Here, you're a quick hit to get down there, but like I said, you're not paying those prices.
So what do the houses look like in Central Oceanside? You're looking kind of on average between 2,000, 2,100 square feet for detached house. Price point wise, you're looking at about $900,000. So even under that $1 million mark, which is hard to find in a lot of neighborhoods in San Diego now. That's on average. It is a big master plan community. So there is an HOA, or there are HOAs within. Most of those are just taking care of common area maintenance, parks, things like that.
Before we get into the next 2 spots, I'm Chris Erickson. We got Mr. Cassidy Lewis right here, and we are the Livin in San Diego crew, and we make videos all about living in San Diego, let you know exactly what's going on, neighborhoods, lifestyle, pros and cons, and everything in between. So definitely, if you guys like this type of content, hit that subscribe button. But we're also real estate agents right here. So if you're thinking about moving out here and you want to dive in some of these areas, there's also a bunch of other good areas that might work for you. Hit us up, call, text, or email. Let's start that conversation. We would love to earn your business and help you make the move right here to San Diego. Second neighborhood is in Vista, and in particular, Southern Vista, another master plan community called Shadow Ridge. A little bit of an older neighborhood. Once again, master plan, a bunch of tract homes in there and such. But you are right on the edge of that 20 minutes, depending on where you live. So you're right south of the 78. So 78 freeway is probably going to be the quickest shot down to the beach. However, if you're living on the southern portion, you go a bunch of different ways. You go down to Palomar Airport Road. There's a bunch of other ways to get around. So you are in that little area of Vista where you're not too far inland, like other areas we mentioned, like foothills and this kind of thing. A little bit further. Those are going to be definitely, there's side roads, a little harder to get around.
So from Shadow Ridge, the beaches that you're going to be going to, if like Chris mentioned, from the 78, if you're on the northern side, you're probably going to most of those oceanside beaches that we talked about before, maybe the pier, something like that, or you can go to a lot of Carlsbad beaches too. So if you take Palomar Airport Road, if you're on the kind of southern side of Shadow Ridge, it's just a straight shot to the coast. And so you can go south to Ponto, you can go north up to Tamarack, a lot of options from both those spots. So one of the big positives of Shadow Ridge is all the amenities around. So where it's located, you're super close to Oceanside, you're super close to kind of that downtown Vista area, you're super close to Carlsbad. So like from a lot of Shadow Ridge, you're jumping off to Bressy Ranch, or you're jumping off to some of those other amenities in Carlsbad, which is great. It's a great spot to be. The breweries in Vista are a huge draw, and they're right in that Shadow Ridge area, the Sycamore Corridor, as we call it, where there's a whole ton of breweries.
He's branded it that.
Yeah. So all these breweries are in the neighborhood of, essentially right on the border of the neighborhood of Shadow Ridge, so super easy to get to.
And Shadow Ridge is similar to Rancho del Oro in the fact that there's a bunch of little different neighborhoods, a bunch of little different villages. So you can find different style homes within a lot of these too. You know, there's the master HOA, which is the Shadow Ridge HOA, but all these other little ones have their own smaller HOA where you're gonna find potentially a bunch of little pocket parks. You're gonna find their own little pool, their own little playground, that kind of thing. So depending on what you're looking for, you're gonna find a ton of different sizes. Price points a little bit higher than Rancho del Oro. You're looking about 1 to 1.2 as that average price point, maybe 2,000, 2,500 square foot, somewhere in there. You're gonna get some smaller for sure. You're gonna get some larger. We help clients, it was right when I got into real estate a long time ago, so more than a decade ago. It was a little neighborhood that had, where it was like a 3-bed, 2-bath, but right across the street, there's like little 2-bed, 2-baths, 1,000 square foot cottages right around the golf course. So there is, you know, that's definitely gonna be under that million mark, but there's also some bigger homes in there too. So nothing like huge yards. It's a little more dense in here. And the price per square foot in here is a little bit higher. So you're looking like low to mid 500 price per square foot. Rancho del Oro was like in the mid fours, somewhere in there. So you can see we're gonna get progressively a little bit higher, but definitely way more affordable than those coastal regions. Once you get in the coastal regions, especially Carlsbad's, the median price point, we just made a video on our other channel, it's like $1.8 million. So that's just like, you know, much more, I mean, bigger houses too, but still price per square foot is going to be a lot higher than what we're looking at right here.
So the third neighborhood we're going to talk about is actually where we are right now. It looks like we're in the mountains. Actually kind of feels like we're in the mountains too. There's a cold breeze that's kind of coming through.
Might be able to hear the wind whipping through the trees here.
We are not in Julian. We are here in San Marcos and kind of that southern section of San Marcos. Chris is going to show you what we're looking at here, kind of our view.
Yeah. Stay tuned at the very end. I'm going to grab the camera and just kind of pan you around to show you the exact neighborhood we're standing in right now.
And with these kind of like more inland neighborhoods that we were talking about today, you also don't have the fog that is a big part of living on the coast. You get it now and then, but it usually burns off faster here in San Marcos, Vista, and that kind of west or eastern portion of Oceanside. So a huge benefit if you don't like that cold and wet and you're coming from a place that's like that. You don't have it if you're a little bit more inland. Like Chris is a little bit more coastal than I am. It'll be foggy at 10 or 11 in the morning. You come out to San Marcos and it's gorgeous.
Well, it'll be like today is cold. Like,
yeah.
I mean, today is abnormally
cold. It's winter
cold.
also.
It is winter. I guess it can be cold. So it's not snowing. I mean, you guys, if I
This
look
is our
at the
winter.
temp, it's probably what, 65?
Yeah. Yeah.
With a cold wind. So,
But we're also both wearing shorts.
It's definitely colder than that. But nonetheless, sometimes if I'm at my house, we're gonna come film over inland a little bit. It might be, 65 degrees over there. I'm bundled up, I'm cooler. When I get over here, it could be 10 to 15 degrees warmer.
Yeah.
So much warmer, but also not too far inland where you're getting into even hotter than that. So once you get into the eastern portion of San Marcos or Escondido,
Poway, or
anything over there definitely gets a bit hotter. But all three that we're covering today are somewhere in that middle zone. In this area that we're in right now, southern San Marcos, the southern zip code is 92078. And it's gonna have the most options because we're just including the whole zip code. And you have like Lake San Marcos, which we just made a vlog about. So if you haven't seen that one, go check that out, get some insight into that. You have Discovery, which is another neighborhood, and it's near North City where there's a ton of new construction. So if you guys want new construction or newer construction in kind of like an area that's up and coming more or less, but like growing, growing, where it's going to become the new downtown of San Marcos. So a lot of action. You're going to see new restaurants, new shops, all that. That's like that Discovery area, and the Hill District and Mission Circle is fairly new, and it's just going to continue building. And then where we're standing right now is San Alejo Hills, another master plan community. So you're going to have like a few different options. San Alejo is a little bit newer. Lake San Marcos is on the older side, where you're going to see older homes being flipped and some opportunity to get in there and put in some sweat equity. Discovery is kind of in that middle zone. It's master plan community, but no HOA. So they all have their little pros and cons depending on which style you're looking for, what area you're looking for. Right where we are right now, San Alejo is kind of on the southern portion of San Marcos. And so you're not super close to the 78 freeway. Those both other areas are close enough where it is within that 20-minute range that we mentioned. Right here, you're probably 25-ish minutes.
Yeah, and
give
that's
or
the
take.
Carlsbad beaches. Like,
Yeah.
if we go to the beach, we live here in San Alejo Hills. If we go to the beach, we're going to Ponto usually. So that's about 20, 25 minutes. But side streets, no highway, super easy. And as for amenities here in 92078, the south section of San Marcos, they're each going to have kind of their own. Discovery has a big shopping center super close. Like Chris mentioned, there's a whole bunch of restaurants and stuff in that North City area that are great. Like San Marcos, you're kind of feeding into a little bit of maybe Carlsbad, into a little bit of kind of that downtown San Marcos area. In San Alejo, we have our own little town center with a whole bunch of amenities, grocery stores, restaurants, nail salon, pretty much everything you need here in town. But we kind of live a little bit more towards the west. So we go to Carlsbad for a lot of amenities. We go to Encinitas for a lot of amenities and kind of head that way.
I grew up in San Marcos. This whole area wasn't here when I grew up. So this is all new, built out, San Alejo, at least. It was built in the early 2000s. Discovery was here, but the surrounding area around Discovery, Cal State, San Marcos, that whole area, Rancho Tesoro, all those new communities
There
I
was
just
no road
mentioned.
that got through.
There's no road. Yeah, that was just the end. It was just a hill. And then, you know, Lake San Marcos, like I said, that's well established. It's been here for a long time.
And as for housing, there's a lot of options. So if you're looking kind of single story, a little bit smaller, Lake San Marcos might be the spot. If you're looking for a little more affordable, Discovery might be the spot. San Alejo is probably the most popular, like when people come out here and start looking, but it is going to be the most pricey out of the group also. You're looking anywhere from kind of that $1 million mark for kind of that average detached house up to about 1.5 is kind of the starter price point in San Alejo Hills. You can get a little bit more affordable, but kind of that's kind of the average.
Yeah, I would say San Alejo is probably starting 1.5.
There's little nooks and crannies where you can get a little bit cheaper.
Little nooks and crannies. There's also, like, if you're in townhome condo options, those, you know, don't cut the prices in half, but definitely a big percentage off what in Rancho del Oro, Shadow Ridge, a handful, and then this area too. There's a lot of options. We've helped a lot of clients move. There's just a lot of options here in San Alejo on the other side as far as condos, and so much more affordable than the housing stock here. In all three of these areas, as well as a ton of other areas throughout San Diego, we have vlog style videos where we're out in the neighborhood showing you exactly what they look like, what the houses look like, what the town centers look like, what the amenities are, what people are doing, the trails, everything around there. So go check all those out. And like I said, most recent vlog style one was Lake San Marcos. We have a bunch of San Alejo Hills, Rancho del Oro, Shadow Ridge, all that. But definitely go check those out. And I'm gonna show you guys where we are right now in San Alejo, because it's kind of cool. Like I said, it's kind of, you got that mountainy feel. It's not really coastal feel, but let's turn us around and then we'll catch you on the next one.